Hello everyone and welcome to our October Lunch and Learn session. I'm Sarah Clossett, the Council's Strategic Marketing Manager, and I'll be managing today's session with the help of my wonderful colleague George, who will be helping with the slides. Hopefully you're aware that today's topic is around employee wellbeing, which we'll be hearing more about shortly. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. For anyone who hasn't been to a session before, and as a reminder, as an attendee, you don't have access to your camera or mic, so you can sit back, relax and enjoy your lunch. You do have access to a Q&A chat box though, so please do add any comments or questions and we'll come back to these in the Q&A section at the end. There'll be 3 sections to today's presentation, so we'll let all the presenters go through their information first and then we'll have a group Q&A at the end, but do feel free to put your questions in the chat as we go along. The session will be recorded, so please note that any comments or questions you make will be featured on the recording, but there is the option to ask anonymously if you prefer. And just a shout out for the next Lunch and Learn. That will take place on the 18th of October at 12 PM and it will be on the topic of energy usage and how to look at reducing household bills. So I'll add the link to the next one at the end of this session for anybody that wants to register. So thank you. So during today's presentation, you'll hear from Abby Powell from Health Assured and Claire Duffield from our musculoskeletal service. But first I'll hand you over to Darren Bishop and Julia Allen from our People and Organisational Development team who will kick off. Thank you very much.
Thank you and hello and welcome everybody. I'm Darren, I'm the Organisational Wellbeing Lead and shortly you'll hear from Julia, the Wellbeing Development Officer. We're here really to tell you about our workplace wellbeing offer, which is evolving, so we really do want to involve you every step of the way, have a collaborative wellbeing process as we go forward. Because our workforce, the people in it, and that's each and every one of us, are Solihull Council's best assets. So it's vitally important that we learn how to support you to manage your workplace wellbeing well, which in turn will help you to experience more good days at work. So it'll be a win-win for everybody really. And wellbeing really is the bedrock of performance at work, and we want our council to do well, and we need to be well in order for that to happen. So just handing over to the next slide, please. Thank you. Lots of things have to happen right to help us have good days at work. For instance, we need to have a good night's sleep beforehand. We need to manage our energy well when we're at work. We need to manage our emotions well. We need to move about and stretch, as we'll hear a little bit later on, the importance of active movements and help for our musculoskeletal health, particularly if we have sedentary jobs. But we need to connect with people also and have that sense of achievement when we come to work and find meaning in our work. So we go home at the end of the day feeling that we've achieved something really good. So our wellbeing offer is designed to give you information, resources, encouragement, and the opportunity to try out and learn and weave in some wellbeing habits into your everyday life at work. So we know that information alone doesn't help people to have more good days at work. It is about providing you with a range of training opportunities, wellbeing activities that you can take part in and try out, as well as information so that you know what to do. And that hopefully will encourage you then to start to adapt some wellbeing habits into your daily life at work. So how do we find out about these wellbeing offers? Could you just put the next slide up, please? The starting point is our wellbeing pages, and we want to get this over to you. We know that we have such a lot on offer and sometimes it's hard to know where to go to find out about things. So the wellbeing pages is this good starting point, and to do that you just jump onto the main open the main browser, and then you'll see the employee wellbeing pages up there arrowed in red, and you just open that tab. And then slide 4, please. You'll see very quickly that you're on the landing page and you can start exploring. So here you'll see various buttons with different labels on them. We've got menopause, we've got the carers hub, we've got men's health, financial health, all sorts of topics there that you can just pop into any of those buttons and explore some of the resources that are there. We also have resources within those pages on things like domestic abuse, bereavement, mental health, a special button just on financial help alone, as we know that's so important to us these days. And of course, it's for you then to go and explore what we have there. We have videos, resources that you can download, and hopefully things that might inspire you as well. So to help you quickly find any of the topics that's really important to you, we would encourage you to use our map. So I'm going to ask you to move on to the next slide and over to Julia to explain our wellbeing map. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren. Yes, so the first thing that we wanted to share that we've got available on our employee wellbeing page is our wellbeing provision map, because this is a really good starting point for you to see an overview really of our offer and what's available. Equally, if you're looking for something specific around a certain area, then this is your place to start. So you can see how it's set out in different themes, I suppose. So we've got stress, MSK, mental health, sleep management, carer support, and so on. So you can basically choose what it is that you're looking for, and then all of those are active links that will take you directly to the information. So rather than browsing through the employee wellbeing pages, which you're welcome to do, if you want something and you want to go straight there, you can find where you want to go from there. There are obviously lots more things available on our employee wellbeing pages, but these are the key things that we thought people are most likely to want to access first. So use this as your starting point. There are links on here to various services as well. So it's a really good starting point for you. So, for example, if you're suffering at the moment with joint pain, you have two menus there. You've got one, information and resources, and you've got one of practical support. So within information and resources, there are webinars that you can access where there's a link there to take you directly to it. We'll talk more about those in a moment. Or you might want to go on and complete your DSE self-assessment to check you've got the correct equipment, and that's on there as well. So it will take you straight to the form rather than, you know, trawling through all the pages. And then you might want to access practical support. So, for example, it takes you to our EAP helpline that we'll learn more about later. And even the physiotherapy service that, again, we'll hear a bit about later. So it tells you about how you get that referral and what they can offer and so on and so forth. So a really good starting point there for anybody that's got something at the moment that they're looking for specific information on. And also on there, men's health, information on financial well-being, menopause, and so on, and also who to talk to if you just want somebody to talk to. So there are links there to our local wellbeing leads as well, who work in various areas within the council, but they're available to anybody to access. So their details are on there as well. So click on the link, find somebody, have a little read of their bio, and just contact them and see if they'd be free to have a chat with you. And they're all mental health first aiders as well. So really good support there for anybody wanting someone to talk to. Okay, I think that's the wellbeing map. So next slide, please. And this is just a quick little snip to show you our wellbeing calendar. So the calendar is really good to just see what's coming up, what's available, and also has the booking links on there to take you directly to Oracle to book on as well. So just trying to sort of keep everything simple and get you to where you need to be as quickly as possible. So the calendar has information on it about courses and webinars that are coming up. They're not just those that are run by us. Sometimes our other providers that you'll hear from later have webinars available as well that they share links with us for. So I will also add those on. So lots on there. We've got network meetings if you're a carer or you want to join our menopause groups. We've got walk and talk in the park. So there's lots of different, a real variety of things. And it is sort of colour coded to show you where if you find something and you can't make that date, then you might, look for the same colour and you find something else easily. So that's really helpful there. I will add the links to the calendar and the provision map in the Q&A later so that you can go straight to them, but they're very easy to find on our employee wellbeing page. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. So this is just another sort of snip of one of the pages on our employee wellbeing pages. So when you go onto the employee wellbeing page, if you click on the button that says wellbeing resources, we've actually got a real wide library of webinars that were recorded previously when we did our winter wellbeing event in January. These are really helpful. Most of them are about an hour long, so there's a lot of information in there, but you know, you can watch them in bits, or you might share them in meetings or whatever. So have a look, see what's available, and see what you think might be most useful. We've got a whole range of topics on there. We've got lots of them delivered by guest speakers, such as Andrew Payne, who was really popular from the Winter Wellbeing event. He ran 2 sessions for us about avoiding burnout, and we had really great feedback from those. So lots of really useful practical tips and ideas that people were able to take away and use in their day-to-day lives. So really helpful. There are also, I mean, there's a whole range of things. There's stress reduction, men and mental health, there's mindfulness practices to do, information on financial well-being, and so on. So lots on there. And that's in addition to the library of resources that's already on the employee wellbeing sites. There's lots of reading material as well for you to have a look at. And then the other thing that's on there are back copies of Your Wellbeing Matters and current copies, which is our bi-monthly wellbeing magazine. And it's just a great read. It has topics in that are current, events that are coming up, like national and international wellbeing days and so on. And it again includes links to anything that you can book onto, any relevant courses that are coming up and so on. And it also does have latest news in as well, so you can see what's available that you might want to sign up for. So that's Your Wellbeing Matters. And the other good thing, as I said, there are back copies in there as well, so everybody gets that emailed out, but we know that it sometimes gets missed in emails. So they're all there if you want to access those at any time. Next slide, please. And then this one is about our Teams channel called Your Voice. So Your Voice is where we publish every Friday. We do a Wellbeing Week Ahead update, and it's really useful for you to sign up to, because you'll know straight away. You'll look on a Friday and you'll see anything that's coming up the following week and any other relevant things. We also post on there just ad hoc when there's relevant notifications, notices, or any current, like I said, national days or anything like that. That's on there as well. So it's a really good one to set up if you want to keep an eye on what's going on. So the other thing that's posted on the Your Voice channel is not wellbeing related, but digital top tips. So it's really worth, you know, signing up for this and getting your notifications set up so that you get the alerts through when there's new material. If you're not sure where to find this, it is within the SMBC All Council team, and you will see underneath there where you've got the various channels. Your Voice is one of those channels. So you might have it hidden, so you might want to unhide it, or you might have it muted, or you might not have access to the All Council team. If that is the case, please contact IT support to be added to the group, and then you should be able to get those alerts each week as they're posted. So, for example, this week we had published about this Lunch and Learn event, and we've also got a Good Day at Work Managers 1-hour course tomorrow that's on there. So, and then next week we'll be talking about some of our menopause drop-ins that are available and so on. So it's really worth having a look at that. Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. And that brings me to the end of my section. So there's contact emails there, but I will also put those in the chat, in the Q&A, so that you can contact Darren or I at any time. We are really keen to hear from everybody. We do want to involve, all employees in developing our wellbeing offer. We're constantly trying to make improvements to what we're providing and making sure that we're reaching as many of you as possible, and that we're delivering the things that you think will make a difference to your wellbeing. So do get in touch with us if you've got any ideas, suggestions, requests, comments. We're always happy to hear from you. Thank you. I'm going to hand over to Abby now, who is from Health Assured.
Hi everyone, if we could just have our first slide, perfect, thank you. So hi everyone, my name is Abby. I'm part of the relationship management team at Health Assured. Today I am joining you to give you a bit of an overview about your employee assistance programme. So we're going to be taking a look at what you have access to, how you can access those different services, and then the online resources that are available for you as well. Could you just have the next slide, please? Thank you. So the first part of our presentation today, it is just a very quick introduction into who we are at Health Assured. So our vision is to help individuals to lead healthier and happier lives, and our mission is to be the most trusted wellbeing provider in the UK. We support around 12 million lives across a range of different sectors, and we are also BACP accredited at an organisational level. So that does mean that we are accredited by the British Association for Counselling and Psychotherapy, which really does mean we are experts in our field. We do operate completely from UK-based service centres, and we also provide a true 24/7 service. So that means that we don't use any answering machines, and we also don't transfer our calls abroad at any time either. We do work as well, though, with a wider network of around 2,000 affiliate counsellors who are based all across the British Isles, and these include CBT practitioners, trauma responders and couples counsellors as well. And we also understand that stress-related issues, they can interrupt a normal life balance. So it might mean that you need to speak to someone any time of the day or night. And with us at Health Assured, you can get that support you need when you need it, with our counsellors being available overnight, on weekends and across bank holidays as well. And it is also worth knowing we were the first EAP provider to be accredited by the Stonewall Diversity Champions programme. And just in case you're not sure who Stonewall are, they are the largest LGBTQ+ organisation in Europe, and they campaign for and promote equality and diversity within the workplace. Give the next slide, please. Thank you. So now we're just going to move on and take a bit more of a look at what you've actually got access to. So you are entitled to up to 6 sessions of face-to-face structured telephone or online counselling, as long as it's clinically appropriate. And that is per employee, per issue, per year. And you do also get unlimited access to our 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365-day-a-year confidential telephone helpline. And that helpline, it really is the backbone of the service that we offer. So as well as being able to access in the moment emotional support through that helpline, you can also access legal and financial information, medical information, family advice, for example, about childcare or elder care. And we do also have a manager's consultancy service available as well. And all of those different services can be accessed through our standard helpline number. As I mentioned there, though, it's not just counselling support we offer, and we do have our in-house information services team, who again are available through that standard helpline number. They are all legally trained, they do specialise in both UK and Irish law, and they can provide information and signposting on a whole range of different topics. And these include, but are not limited to, motoring, consumer, family, wills, commercial, debt management, and also budgeting. And if suitable, they can also look to signpost individuals into other organisations where they could access further support. So, for example, signposting someone to Step Change if they were looking for support with debt. The service that we offer you, though, it is a confidential service. And so if you did want to access it without informing your manager or your workplace in general, you are welcome to do so. But alternatively, we know that not every person will be quite ready to make that first step and pick up the phone. So that does mean that as long as you've got an individual's consent, a line manager or HR department can complete an online referral for us. providing us with some brief details such as that person's contact information, and then that will allow our team to reach out and provide that person with support. Coverage of this service, it does also extend to retirees for up to 3 months after they leave your organisation. And we also understand that sometimes you might be affected by family and relationship difficulties too. So that does mean we've got limited services that can be provided to an individual's spouse, their partner, or their dependents. And a dependent is defined as a child of an employee who is aged between 16 and 24, who is in full-time education and also registered to the same home address. And people who do meet that criteria can access the helpline for that in-the-moment emotional support, but they can also access structured telephone counselling as it's appropriate as well. We can have the next slide, please. So this next slide here, it just gives you a bit of an overview about the broad range of issues that might impact someone's work or their personal life. It does provide you a good indication about the types of situations we can support with, and I'm sure as you do look through that list, you'll be able to see a topic that you or someone you know has been impacted by at some point. You should notice as well though, the items on there, they're not just scenarios our counselling team would support with, but they do also touch on those health, financial and legal topics too. And this list here, it is by no means exhaustive. If you can't see something on there, that doesn't mean we're unable to help. We would always recommend if you do need support, then you pick up the phone and you give us a call. And even if our team were unable to provide the level of support you were looking for, they would be able to offer you signposting to another organisation where you could get further assistance. Can we have the next slide, please? Thank you. So here on the screen is our referral pathway. This outlines what happens when someone actually contacts our service. So when you do contact our helpline, you will first be welcomed by a member of our team who will ask for your name, the organisation that you're calling from, what the call is about, and take some additional personal details from you. If you are calling to access counselling support, you can access in-the-moment support from the counsellor you're speaking to that day. But also from this call, you can begin that process of accessing those structured sessions as well, as long as it's appropriate for you to do so. If you were calling our helpline with a practical concern, our team will warm transfer you through to one of our legal advisors, who would then be able to assist you with that information and signposting that I spoke about. The next slide, please. And when everyone does contact our service, they do first have a triage and a biopsychosocial assessment done with a member of our team. This is a standard across our service for every first call we receive from someone. And that's because it allows us to understand how best to support you, because it highlights to the team any presenting or underlying concerns, whether it is a counsellor or member of our legal team that you'd like to speak to, and also any risk. And while the service that we offer is confidential, if an individual is assessed as being high risk, so a possible harm to themselves or to others, this confidentiality may be broken in order for us to contact the blue light services. And that is so that we can ensure the full level of support needed is going to be received. Can we have the next slide, please? So now we're just going to move on and take a bit more of a look at how you access all of those resources and the online resources available for you as well. So obviously, we do want to make sure that the service we offer you is as accessible as possible. So that does mean our helpline number is a free phone number. We've got no separate triage teams, no answering machines, and all of our calls are answered by someone in the UK. Our app and portal, they've increased access to our service through online channels. And now if a person would prefer to do so, they can contact the service via email before having that telephone triage done. To support individuals who are deaf, hard of hearing or speech impaired, we are accessible via the Relay Assistant. And on our app, we've also got a live chat option available to communicate with our counsellors as well. And just in the same way as on our helpline, we wouldn't use any answering machines. For live chat, we don't use any robots, we don't use any artificial intelligence. So it will be a member of our team that you're speaking with. And also on our helpline, we are able to provide translation services in over 240 languages. Next slide, please. So we do also provide digital support to you as well. So we've got our portal, and on here you'll find a range of really great information, such as different videos, fact sheets and online health checks. We release monthly webinars onto here which focus on various topics throughout the year. And previously we've looked at topics such as mindfulness, the menopause, money worries, and then more recently we've also looked at topics such as health anxiety and tackling phobias. It really is something for everyone, no matter what you're interested in. We've got 4-week programs on here as well, which focus on key areas of mental and physical well-being, and they're designed to help you make positive lifestyle changes. So that could be anything from helping you quit smoking right through to helping you cope better with pressure. This portal, though, it is also kept up to date with our monthly newsletters and any relevant Awareness Day information. So not only are we keeping you up to date with what's up and coming, but how we can provide support. And then as you can see on the screen there, we've also got a fantastic new feature called Wisdom AI, where you can ask questions you want answered, and all of the answers have been curated by our own counsellors. And we've just got a very quick video on this now for you.
Abby, I'm really sorry. The sound's not working, so we can't do the video. No
problem, that's absolutely fine. So as I said, we have got Wisdom AI. All of the answers on there have been curated by our counsellors. It is a feature that is unique to Health Assured as well, and it's something we're really proud of, and that can be accessed on the front page of the portal. So it is something we'd really recommend having a look at if you have got any specific questions. If we could just go to the next slide, please. Perfect. So in addition to the portal, we also have an app which is called My Healthy Advantage, and this is completely free for you to download on both the Google Play and the Apple Store. Once you have downloaded it for the first time, you just need to make sure you select the option that says sign up with email. It will then ask you to pop your organisation's unique code in, which I've got on the screen for you today on the right hand side. And then from there, you sign up with your own details, much in the same way as you would any other app. The app, though, it does offer you a much more interactive experience. So you can personalise your account by selecting topic preferences, which means the feed of information you see is tailored to topics that you actually find interesting. We've got weekly mood trackers on there as well, which lets you track your emotional, physical and financial mood each week. We've got 4-week plans, which are very similar to those on the portal, but these can be completed in-app. So they offer you checklists and let you pop in weekly diary entries. We've got mini health checks on there as well, though, which again looks at key areas of mental and physical well-being, such as BMI, mental health or alcohol intake. And this feature will look at offering you tips and signposting based on the responses you give, so you know that that additional support is there for you if you need it. We do also have some really exciting new features on here, including exclusive perks and discounts for well-known wellness brands. And we've also got 4 new zones which are designed to support you with your everyday life. And they are the sleep zone, fitness zone, recipe zone and meditation zone. And on there, you'll find different exercise videos like yoga or HIIT workouts. You'll find recipes each month. And then we've also got sleep soundscapes and yoga podcasts for you to listen to as well to really help you achieve those everyday goals. In addition, though, to all of those different features and the different articles, videos and podcasts we've got on there, we've also got that support function. And that allows you to get in touch with our service directly through the app. So whether that be by calling the helpline because the number is there at the touch of a button, you can also request a call back from the service if perhaps you're not quite ready to pick up the phone. You can email our counsellors, and we've also got that live chat option available for you as well. The next slide, please. And then finally, here you can see some of the other platforms we also use for our service. So first, we've got the Mental Health Hour. This takes place once a month on our Instagram page. We focus on a new topic every month and people send in questions based on that topic, and our own counsellors then answer them on our Instagram stories. We do also save for you all the previous questions and answers onto our story highlights, so you can go back and have a look through these at any point. We've also got Spotify now, so on here you'll find a range of different playlists, which again are designed to support you with different areas of your life, like boosting your mood, helping you get a good night's sleep, and there's a new feature playlist for you to listen to each month as well. And then finally, we have our Peace of Mind podcast. So this is hosted by Kaylee, who is our head of clinical support. And she has deep dive discussions with our own counsellors into a range of different mental health topics to offer that further insight and understanding into some really important and topical areas. And this can be accessed on both the My Healthy Advantage app, and it's also available for you on Spotify as well. If you just have the final slide, please. Perfect. So that does bring me to the end of the EAP presentation. So thank you very much for listening. You will see on the screen there, we've got that code for you again. We've also got the helpline number. But I really hope you found that helpful in understanding a bit more about all of the support available to you. But now we'll just hand over to Claire.
Thank you. So my name's Claire Duffield. I'm from PAM Physio Solutions, who do the musculoskeletal clinic on the site. If we could just go to the next slide, please. So we're just going to run through some top tips and the importance of physical activity, and then obviously what musculoskeletal support you can get through the council. Next slide, please. So it's obviously everybody knows it's important to exercise and keep physically active, you know, for losing weight or things like that, but it actually has a lot of other benefits. As you can see here, usually people sleep better when they've done some physical activity. They obviously does help maintain a healthy weight. It can help manage stress and therefore obviously your mental well-being. It can improve your quality of life, but it also reduces your chance of other illnesses like type 2 diabetes by 40%, cardiovascular disease by 35%, falls and depression by 30%, joint and back pain, so a lot of musculoskeletal pain, by 25%, and your risk of cancers such as colon and breast cancer by 20%. So it has an overall benefit. People do worry and say they haven't got time, but every minute counts. So whatever you can do to try and get a few minutes of more physical activity, whether it's you can go for a few minute walk at your lunchtime, get off the bus or stop earlier, anything like that. It's never too late to start. Just trying to add in new little bits. Once you can find 5 minutes, usually you can stretch that to a few minutes more and keep building on it. Just rather than people thinking they've got to find 30 minutes right now, find what you can and build on that. Next slide, please. So this just is obviously looking again in those things in more detail. So exercise or physical activity. Exercise can be a bit of a scary word, so we'll go with physical activity. It can boost happy chemicals, so we know that your body produces more endorphins, releases endorphins when you've done some exercise. Even more so if you do that with other people, because you've got the social aspect as well. So if you're going out for a walk at lunchtime, obviously you've got the walk and talk in the parks, things like that. Doing things like that with other people improves that. It can improve your self-confidence with lots of other aspects of your life. Get to enjoy the outdoors, get your vitamin D if the sun is out. It helps to prevent cognitive decline. It can help to alleviate anxiety. So sometimes if people are feeling a bit anxious, if they actually go for a walk or do some physical activity, that can help. It can help sharpen memory. It can help with relaxation. So because your body's tired from the exercise, it can help to actually improve your sleep and improve that relaxation. It can help you to be more productive rather than just sitting and being very sedentary all day. Actually, that can make you feel more tired and therefore being less productive. Sometimes you don't, if you move away from something, come back to it, you can be a lot more productive. And it can help you to obviously reduce stress, as we've already said. Next slide, please. So how much physical activity should we do? You just need to click through this. Sorry, George. So we should do 150 minutes a week of physical activity. So they used to say 30 minutes 5 times a week, which is still the same amount of minutes. And this is what the World Health Organization recommend. Now that's quite a scary number to try and fit in if you don't do any. But that's the recommendation is 150 minutes a week of moderate aerobic and strengthening exercises on 2 or more days, or you can do half of that if you do a more vigorous aerobic and strengthening exercises on 2 or more days, or you can do a bit of a mix. That's the recommendation. Obviously that still seems like a lot to fit in, But I think it's probably easier to think if you're doing a longer session and on less days than 30 minutes 5 times a day. But like I said, every minute counts, and it's starting off with what you can manage and trying to build that up. You know, every minute of exercise has a benefit, so it's starting with what you can fit in, what you can manage. Something is better than nothing. It's better to fit in 10 minutes or 5 minutes than, oh, I can't do half an hour, so I'll just do nothing. Just build up with what you can and gradually progress and build on that time. Next slide, please. So what counts as moderate exercise? So I think, you know, sometimes it's people overlook what other things can be. So gardening and things like that, dancing, it's trying to find something enjoyable that you enjoy and that you're likely to stick to. Obviously, we know things like walking and hiking, swimming, cycling, they're known exercises, but anything that you can get slightly out of breath, anything you're doing some strengthening, so with the gardening, running around in the park if you've got children, things like that. So anything that you enjoy that you can get a few minutes worth of actual physical activity all counts towards those minutes. Next slide, please. So the benefits of exercise. We all have a threshold, which is our fitness for work, particularly if you're in more of a manual job. If you do nothing but that job, you'll stay at your threshold to be fit for work for quite a while. But eventually, if you don't do anything above that threshold, that threshold will decline. So you will then become unfit for your job role, which puts you more at risk. It doesn't mean you can't do your job role, but it puts you more at risk of a musculoskeletal injury because your muscles and joints and bones are not strong enough to really do that physical activity at work. So anything above what you would normally do in your day-to-day keeps you fit for work. It maintains that fitness and you're above that threshold. So it reduces your risk of musculoskeletal disorders. Like I said, it reduces the chance of musculoskeletal injury. It helps you to warm up before any manual tasks. If you do have a manual job and you do walk to work or something like that, that's your bit of your warm up before you go into that really manual task of work. It reduces the likelihood of sickness absence and therefore obviously reduces financial strain by being off work. But also, we know that an injury can obviously affect your social life, your mental well-being. It has financial impacts. It impacts social plans, holidays, mood, stress. So we know that those things can all be impacted by an injury. So if we can reduce the risk of injury, we reduce the risk to all of those things. Next slide, please. So the physical health benefits of activity is obviously increased cardiovascular and pulmonary, so your heart and your lung fitness. It reduces the risk of heart disease and stroke. It improves the management of conditions such as hypertension, so high blood pressure, high cholesterol, joint and muscular pain or stiffness, and diabetes. It helps to keep your bones stronger. So we know with things like menopause, obviously your bone density can be affected. And so exercise and strengthening exercises in particular help to keep your bones nice and strong. And it can improve your balance, which obviously helps as we get older, we are more at risk of falls. So if we can keep stronger and improve our balance, we are then less risk of falls. And it increases our muscle strength and endurance. So we know that we can obviously prolong our life and reduce disease risk. And all of those things come in the first 20 minutes of being active. Okay, next slide, please. So what the research says, one of the biggest misconceptions is that exercise has to be hard. We don't need to find something that's really hard to do or something that's really difficult to fit into our schedules, our lives. Everybody's busy, so we just need something that you enjoy. So walking is one of the best exercises you can do for your body and mind. and it's the single easiest thing that anyone can do. So things like getting off the bus stop early, if you get the bus to work, could you park a little bit further away so you have a bit of more of a walk? You know, if you need to do a school run or something like that, can you walk to there, or can you park a little bit further away so you've got more of a walk? It's trying to build in those natural things into your day-to-day. You know, if you need to go to the shop, is there a shop that you could walk to? Things like that. Can you get out on your lunch break and get a bit of a fresh air, move away from your desk? And all of those things really help. And it's moving away from the desk. So if you got a Teams meeting, can you get up between that and at least, you know, move around the office so that you're changing your position regularly? Okay, next slide, please. So this is a really interesting picture of the brain. So your brain, after sitting quietly, we can see is not very active. You have a little bit of a green, with obviously because our brain is still working when we are sitting quietly. But after a 20-minute walk, we can see how active and how highlighted different areas of the brain are. And that's why people are more productive, because we've really switched on our cognitive system. Okay, next slide, please. So tips to be more active at work: try to use your mobile phone if you've just got a one-to-one discussion with somebody, so you're taking a break from your screen, but also you could be walking around, you can move around during that. Consider participating in some meetings whilst out for a walk. So if you're going with a colleague and you need to meet with them about something, could you actually have a short walk around, something like that? Could you stand up during the meeting, changing your position and trying to get in a few extra steps? It all helps. Try setting a timer, particularly if you've got a task where you are just going to be sat still, writing, typing, something like that. Try and set a timer to remind yourself to stand up or look away from the screen during a meeting, things like that. So if you know you've got a long sort of training session over Teams, trying to make sure that you've got those natural reminders to get up and move and change your position. The new tagline is, your best posture is your next posture, i.e. keep changing it, keep moving. That will reduce your risk of musculoskeletal injuries. Try to, one thing I think COVID has not been great for is that we use Teams a lot more, which is great for some things, but we tend to have them back-to-back meetings, whereas naturally we would normally have moved around between meetings and have a natural break with meetings. So try to diarise meetings for 45 minutes rather than an hour, so that you have that natural break between meetings to get up, to move around, so that you get your steps in, or change rooms, things like that help. And then try to allow time to wind down from work with an activity. So maybe going for a walk or doing some exercise or meditate or some relaxation sessions, so that you have that switch off between work and then your evening life. Particularly if you're working from home, it's a good way to sort of end your day and switch off. Next slide, please. So just to try and stay a bit more motivated, try and keep your body moving. Periods of inactivity can see massive reductions in strength and an increased body fat. Regular exercise can boost your immunity as well. It's always the time of year where everybody gets poorly right now, with the change in the weather and all the schools going back, things like that. So regular exercise can actually help keep your immune levels high. It can reduce your risk of many chronic diseases. Regular walks with your dog if you've got one, but just getting out. And if you are working from home, if you can have a few-minute walk after you finish work, it's like your little commute back home, things like that. It just helps you then switch off and end your day. And then obviously trying to give yourself that walking or cycling commute, and then use your lunch breaks, even if it's just a few minutes and it's just a walk around the block. Every little helps. Next slide, please. So what support do you get if you do get a musculoskeletal problem? So we have a musculoskeletal clinic weekly on a Tuesday at Council House. and the physio will be there between 8:30 and 4:30. Discuss with your line manager and they can sort out getting you a referral into the service. It's telephone or face-to-face for initial assessment, and then the follow-ups can either be via the telephone or face-to-face. If you're not in council house, sometimes it can be hard to get to, that's fine. And the support, we have a PhysiTrack app, so you can get an exercise program with little videos and a description of the exercises, all bespoke to you and your musculoskeletal issue, and that can be emailed to you. You can download the app or you can just access it through the email, and you'll be getting the assessment obviously by the physio, and then bespoke advice and treatment and or exercises, and there'll also be a written report regarding work and if any adjustments are necessary whilst you're dealing with your musculoskeletal condition, and that will go to your manager. Okay, I think that's it. So just any questions?
Thank you very much, Claire. That was fab. Thank you, Darren, Julia, Abby and Claire. That was brilliant. We've got lots of information and hopefully you've all been walking around listening to us while we've done that with the top tips from Claire. We've got a bit of time for questions now, so I'm just going to start with that last one that's coming because I think that's quite important. So I think this is probably one for Abby. It's around someone who tried to call for some help and advice, but they were told, sorry, they tried to email, but they were told they needed to call and they didn't feel they could do that. So I don't know if you've got any advice on that one, Abby, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously most people request contact with the service via phone. We do have that 24/7 helpline. But as I've said earlier, we know that that isn't necessarily going to be the best option available. So on our app, there is that email contact. We do have live chat available. And also on the app, you do have the option to request a call back from the service as well. So if you aren't quite ready to pick up the phone, our team can contact you instead of you contacting them. Before anyone is referred on for structured support, though, they do have to have a clinical assessment done. That is done via our helpline. But if you've contacted our team via email, they've asked you to call and you don't quite feel ready to take that step, let the team know, email them back and ask if someone can contact you. The team, they do know how difficult this can be and they do want to make sure you get the support available. So we do have alternative options rather than you always having to pick up the phone in the first instance. So yeah, please just keep that communication going with the team, and if you are experiencing some anxiety, just ask them to ring you and they'll be more than happy to support how they can do to make sure we're able to do that assessment and put you in touch with a counsellor if that is what's right for you.
Thank you very much, Abby. I hope that was useful to whoever put that question in. George, I think you can leave Abby up because I think most of the questions so far are for her. If anybody does have any more, feel free to put them in the chat and I'll look through. But the other ones we've got so far were, oh, there was one around the links, which Julia has kindly put in the chat. If anybody needs any other links, please ask now and we can put them in. Another question for Abby, what happens after you reach the maximum number of face-to-face sessions, presumed for counselling?
So in very rare instances, it may be that an individual's counsellor feels some additional sessions would be beneficial. In that case, we would need to liaise with your organisation to where we can get that approved, but that would all be discussed with you before we go and reach out to your organisation to get that approval. We do, though, do a clinical assessment before anyone's referred on for structured sessions, and that is so that our team can make sure you're going to get what you need out of that short-term counselling. So it isn't very often that additional sessions would be required, but there is that option there if for whatever reason your counsellor feels that another couple of sessions would be beneficial. But even then, it would still be in line with short-term counselling. It would only be a couple of extra sessions that would be recommended.
Great, thank you, Abby. One around how do I presume this is one for you, but I don't know if Darren or Julia have anything to add around how do I know that everything will genuinely be kept confidential from my employer?
So from the EAP side of things, it is a completely confidential service. The only time we would break confidentiality is if an individual is assessed as being high risk. So that is a possible harm to themselves, a possible harm to others. And in that instance, even then, we wouldn't be referring that back to your employer. We would only be contacting the relevant services so we can make sure the full level of support is needed. So whether that be the blue light services like an ambulance or the police, social services, safeguarding, but we do also on our portal have our full privacy policy and information if you did want to have a look at that in a bit more detail.
Thank you. And are there any group counselling sessions available, e.g. group CBT?
So we don't offer group counselling sessions as part of standard EAP. It would be the CBT we offer is all online CBT. It is self-led modules with email support, so that would be designed for one person. So group counselling, not something we typically offer through our services. We do, however, though, offer couples counselling. So if that is something you're interested in, contact the helpline. They'll be able to talk that through with you.
Fab, thank you very much. I think the person's come back on that original question around what if you're never ready to take a call, I can't speak to someone over the phone. I presume that's just a similar answer to you gave before, that person does have to have an assessment.
Yeah, we'd still need to have that assessment done if you wanted structured counselling. So our structured counselling is either done by telephone, online or face-to-face. So at some point, if you are wanting to access more structured support, you would need to have that kind of more telephonic conversation with someone so you can take that step. If you're just looking for in the moment support though, you can email the team. They'll be able to provide that in the moment support by email where possible. We've also got that live chat option as well if you were looking for in the moment support, which works more like an instant messenger. So there are options there, but again, if you really do feel you're in that situation and you're never ready to take a phone call, discuss it with the team. They'll go through what options are available for you.
Thank you, Abby. I think they were all the ones for you. There was someone asking if we can send out the slides with the QR code, so we'll make sure everybody gets those, that specific slide, because that did have lots of useful information. And thanks, Kay, for the feedback. Glad to know you found it interesting. And then one for Claire, I think, around, are the on-site physio sessions every Tuesday free?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, they're completely free, and there isn't a limit to the amount of times you can go to the physio. So we generally try not to go over a maximum of like 6 sessions per referral. So if you go with lower back pain, it's highly unlikely you would need more than 6 sessions. If you do, that isn't a problem and you can have more, but that's generally it's generally would get better in that time, but there isn't a limit. If you get low back pain in January and you have 6 sessions, that doesn't mean then when you hurt your knee in September you can't go back to physio. There isn't a limit of the amount of referrals you can have in the year, and it's completely free.
That's really helpful, thank you very much. Lots of useful information there. I think we have answered all the questions. Feel free to put, we've got a couple of minutes left, so if anybody else has any other ones, please do pop them in the chat and we'll try and cover them before we go. Just a few things for me to cover before we do go. So I said I would share the link to register for the next session, so I will pop that in. As I mentioned, that's the one on energy, and just to flag, it's a slightly different registration process going forward. We won't be using Eventbrite anymore if you have registered, which you will have done for this session or previous ones. We're going to be using Microsoft Forms. Hopefully it's a bit easier for you. If you do have any issues trying to register, just reach out to the comms team and we'll help you with that. There will also be a survey sent out, a feedback survey following this event in the next couple of days, just to see what your feedback is generally on the Lunch and Learns, and any feedback you want to give around future topics or anything like that, and how you find the platform. So it'd be great if you can just spend a couple of minutes filling that in. I think that's the main things. Oh, we've got one more question. Let me just check. Oh, thank you very much, Viv. It's Viv saying, good session, thank you very much. That's brilliant, our first feedback. So I will say thank you very much to all the presenters. Really appreciate you giving your time, because that was really interesting information, and hopefully people will pick some good bits out of there and know where to go for all these really important services for everyone, and making sure they're taking care of themselves and taking time out to look after themselves as well as their work. So thank you. I think that's about it. So I'll let everybody get back to their day. Oh, just to remind you, sorry, the recording will be made available. So if anybody couldn't make it from your team, feel free to share the link with them. We'll put that out in the staff magazine and all the usual internal comms channels. So yeah, please do share the information. Great. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a lovely rest of your day.